Hello class and Dr. Garner. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the second version of my prototype and interface update. For those of you that didn't see my discussion post, my interface or device that I am designing is a call light that can be used for new mothers to call down to the nursery to talk to the nursery nurse for hospitals that are not necessarily mother baby hospitals. This is actually something that would apply to the work that I used to do working in a well baby and a NICU. The updates I made, they were made primarily based off of the feedback I received from you guys on Canvas. Originally, I had the idea of creating multiple buttons and have a different need or a different function for each button. However, I believe Dr. Gardner pointed out that this may be challenging, a challenging interface for a new mother to use, or even a repeat mother who is still recovering from childbirth. Having too many buttons may be challenging to deal with in the middle of the night when your newborn is hungry, or if you have any other need. I did end up adding additional buttons last time. I only had one with one LED light. Now I added two more. I actually changed my original button out for a blue one. So did that because most call lights, the main nurse button is red. So if the idea behind this is that it's going to be different a different call light button than the main nurse, which would be the postpartum nurse, then it needs to be a different color. I added a new blue LED as well that corresponds to the blue button. The yellow button I added is specifically for calling a nursing assistant. I believe Yartzia was the one that had recommended this, adding a different button to call a nurse assistant, which for a very busy hospital that does have nurse assistants available in that unit, this would be very handy because if it's just a call for something simple like they need help to the bathroom, or it is something like they need the baby picked up, or they want more diapers or anything like that, they could use that button. And I added a third button to cancel the call light. So say if you happen to press it on accident, which happens often, you have this cancel button here to say, whoops, never mind, I'm going to cancel the call. But for this particular scenario, I added an interface specifically for a hospital that has a separate nursery, so they need a kind of a separate call light system, and we're doing a separate button for the nurse and a separate button for the nursing assistant. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the code and see what we are working with. All right, this is, I've logged in remotely to my Pi device here. So right now I have my terminal pulled up, and I went ahead and pulled up the code that I used. So I fought back and forth, and I originally started with the Node JavaScript or Node.js, and I decided to stay with it because I was able to figure the code out. I was on the verge of moving over to using Python and then just using my Apache server, but I was actually able to get this to work, so I kind of wanted to stick to it because I put a lot of work into it, so I wanted to see it through to the end. I also have a separate page for my HTML page. Right now I only have one HTML page. My plan is to add possibly another page or two, HTML page or two with version 3 of the prototype, maybe a logon screen, logout screen, things like that. Most of the style is done in the style sheets, which I used a template that takes advantage of Bootstrap. For most of the styling, you'll probably see this styling I had to for the switches, which I'm still using in this version of my prototype to signify the call light. All of this is in the header, and then in the table itself, I have, or in the actual body of the HTML itself, I have some other fun stuff, but the meat of the prototype is in the table, which right now I have listed out multiple, like a patient list, or like you would possibly see in a nursery. You could see all your patients and what call lights you have going off at that point in time. A lot of the scripting that I had to adjust was in the bottom inside of this socket.io, or the socket, which is another program that the node.js file. And that file, that's actually how we're linking back and forth between the HTML page and the JS file, the JavaScript file. And that's what allows me to for my web page to talk back to my physical interface. Now we're going to go back to the terminal. I'm going to go ahead and run my server. So to do this, I just type node and then my server, and you can see that I'm already inside of my directory. My server is web server.js, and you can see that's the name of it from right there. I'm going to press enter. And I know it's running because I don't get a new line right here with my Pi device name. So I know that it's running, and to stop it, it's really simple. All you have to do is hit Control C. So I'm going to actually minimize my remote desktop because I want to show you this from my Mac computer. So I'm going to minimize this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pull up a Chrome page. And I'm going to go to my, my web address, which for this particular page, I didn't show it at the time, but I actually set up a port for when I created this server. So my port here is 7000. So I'm going there. And when I get to the page, you can see it pulls you straight into the patient list. So you can see I color coordinated the switches here. You can see that you have the patient's name, the room number, the mother's name. So Nolan, baby girl, is in room 101. Mother's name is Sheena. The baby's date of birth, the baby's gender, and you can also change the baby's current location as well. Some hospitals have tracking systems, so I'm sure that this could even be further developed or integrated with that software so that way you could include that as well, so you could even see the patient's location. So looking at the device, I'm gonna start off by showing you what it looks like when I press it from here. So when I press my yellow button here, it turns on the yellow light, which is the PCT call light. And then if you look at the interface here, my web interface, you can see that this has now, the switch has turned yellow, showing that the call light is going off. Black button here will cancel the call light, which it also turns it off here on the web interface. But you can also, if it's pressed, you can also address the call from the board as well. If you press the button, it turns off the light on the physical interface. The blue button or the nurse call light works the same way, so you can see I've just turned it on here. It does look a little strange on the on my iPhone camera, so I apologize for that. You can also turn on both lights at once. The nice thing is the call light works for both. So if you can turn this one on, turn that off, you can turn this one on, turn that off, or turn both of them on, and this will still turn it off. So it's a kind of a generic cancel button. And that was by design, but like I said, this could be customized to meet an organization's needs. I hope you enjoyed my interface. Please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to possibly hearing y'all's additional feedback, not just from the class, but from you as well, Dr. Gardner. I hope everyone has a great weekend. This is Jeffrey Pounds, and this is my version 2 of my prototype for CSCI 5443 Human Computer Interface.